What is up, sister friend? Another week, another episode of Heart to Heart with Coach Emily. Last week, we met with my amazing friend, Courtney McCarthy, talked all about her story as an entrepreneur, how she got into fitness, and how she just out here freaking changing the world. So if you missed last week's episode, definitely go check it out. Courtney tells about how she got into working in a mission to fight human trafficking. It is a super powerful episode. I cried while recording it and listening to it. So that episode really helped to inspire today's episode. So today we are going to be talking about faith and hard work or good work, which just listening to the episode, there was a lot. I was like, you know what? This is such a good topic. And I think a lot of us could be inspired and could be, just need to hear a little bit more about this. Personally, I've had a weird week. I don't know. I know Venus is in retrograde, Mercury's in retrograde. There's a lot going on. I had a lot of anxiety this past week. So it's Saturday while I'm recording this. This will come out on Wednesday, but just really taking the time this weekend to get recentered, do some things, have some fun, get myself reorganized to have a better week next week. I'm also about to be in my luteal phase. So there's all the things working there. Me and Austin just are trying out a new schedule. So if you guys don't know, with my new, program, I switched from training clients in fitness and nutrition to now serving entrepreneurs like yourself listening to this podcast to help you with energetic scheduling, just living your best life as an entrepreneur with lifestyle habits change, personal development coaching, things of that nature. And anytime you change your schedule from, a certain wake up time to a new wake up time, it has some effects on you. So that was kind of hitting me this week. And when we have these weeks of change or a hard week, that's where that faith comes in, that belief, that knowing that it's all going to work out and that we just move through the motions and we make the best of it. And I wanted to kick this podcast episode off. And when I speak about faith, let's just make this part clear. I know everyone has different religious beliefs. Everyone has different ideas of what faith looks like for them. I want you to apply faith in the way that looks for you. The way I'm going to be speaking about faith is I am a Christian. So my belief is in God, Jesus Christ. That is where my faith derives from. That is who I believe is always looking out for me, who's leading me in the right direction, who is always making sure that my feet land on the ground and is providing me everything in this world. As long as I have that faith and I work really hard, everything will always be okay. And God has a huge plan for me, and I trust in that plan. So that is what I'm going to be speaking on today. But I would encourage you to use the word faith in a way that works best for you. So I just wanted to make that piece clear. So for faith, I have always, and I mentioned this in Courtney's episode, I have always been someone who has I've always known that everything is always going to work out. I have always known that from such a young age. I have known that. And I didn't grow up with faith in my life in the sense of religious faith. I didn't grow up in the church. My family isn't religious. But I always just had this knowing that everything's going to work out. And time after time, even in my hardest, darkest moments, it always works out. And if you can start to cultivate that belief, that faith, you're going to be shocked, because there's something that comes from believing in something bigger than yourself. When you believe in something bigger than yourself, then you have something to lean on, right? When we have this lone wolf, I got to muscle through it mentality, that's freaking hard. Life's already hard enough. Life is already freaking so hard. And now you're putting the weight of the world on your shoulders as the sole human to get through this, instead of leaning on a spiritual aspect to help you get through that. And so for me, that is God. He has been there for me and provided for me, even when I didn't even really fully believe in him yet. And when I wasn't practicing. But when I look back, I know it was him. So just for an example, I've told you guys my story about, being super poor, living in that shitty apartment with roaches, but also like, how did I even get to North Carolina? Right. I was a nanny for a year. I lived in this people's home. I took care of their children. And then I decided I'm going to move to North Carolina to be with my now ex-husband. When I moved to North Carolina, I had a random girl that I've never met in my entire life pick me up. I had 2 tubs of clothes and she drove me down to North Carolina. 7-hour drive, first time meeting. We drove ourselves down there. Then I'm there. Okay. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? I have no job. I have no money. This is where faith comes in. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get a job. Not in the sense of like the task of I'm going to get a job. It was, I'm going to get a job. Like there's no doubt in my mind, I will be able to find a job. Found a job, worked at Sonic, and walked to work every single day, 2 miles. Not that that's crazy, but it was just like walk to work every single day because I had no car, walk to work, would roller skate all day, work my tushy off. I was like, this job is going to provide me to get to the next step. I know it. I believe it. And I will work hard to get it. From there, just in case you don't know, Sonic, I don't know in the South, there's some Sonics out here out west in Colorado. We have a few, a little bit on the east, like northeast, whatever you call it. But in North Carolina, there's a lot of Sonics and you make hourly, but you make tips. That's how the most you make money as a Sonic cart girl, whatever you want to call it. So I would save up my tips. You're not making that many tips. Okay. You're making like $50, maybe 100 on a good day, but I would work there all day, open to close, just to make as much money as I could, slinging burgers, making slushies, all the things. And I was like, I will be the best Sonic worker there has ever been. Part of my, I got to be the best achiever situation. But from there, because I worked hard and I believed that this was going to be, this wasn't the last stop. This wasn't the last stop. This was the first stop upon many stops. From there, I got a job at Olive Garden. I bought a car from the money that I worked really hard for at Sonic. The thing was that everybody was telling me like, Emily, you are not going to make it working at Sonic. I was like, it's going to happen. It's going to work. I'm going to get a car and I'm going to get a new job. Then it happened. Got a job at Olive Garden, bought a car, was also able to buy another car for my ex-husband. Bought 2 cars, working at Olive Garden, working my tushy off, believing and knowing this wasn't the last stop. From there, the kickboxing, then we moved to Maryland, always knowing that if I worked hard and continued to believe that I was going to get to the next step, that I would. This unrelenting faith in myself that I would not give up and I would not stop until the next station came. But I also had this belief and know that it was going to all work out in my favor. Whatever was to happen was meant to happen, and I was going to get to the next step and it was all going to be okay. Even on the days where like, let me just tell you this. So when I moved to North Carolina, I had never been to the house. So me and my ex-husband, when I moved to North Carolina, we were not together. We were like getting back together. I hadn't been to the house that he was living at there, and I was going to move into him. I got into move in with him. Got to this house. You could see my face if you're watching the YouTube. No furniture, just like boys living in this house. They had no pots, pans, nothing. I immediately got there and started crying my eyes out. That was my first sign where I didn't listen to my intuition, but that's a whole nother podcast episode. Got there and was like, oh my God, what did I just do? What did I just do? This is how God works in such great ways. These 2 girls, Melissa and Shauna, knew that I was moving into this shithole, and they were wives to some of the men that my ex-husband knew in the military. And they brought me a basket of goodies like pots and pans and kitchen towels so that I could actually like live in this freaking place. And I was like, okay, I made this decision. It's all going to work out. It's all for a reason. Like I was like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't meant to be here. And so while I was there, like, I was like, okay, I can't live here. This can't be forever. So like worked at Sonic, worked at Oliver, and did whatever I could to get us. Then we got out of that place. And knowing the whole time that through like believing in myself and believing that there was a bigger plan, and like having a belief in something bigger than me gave me the strength to get through that. Because when it's just you by yourself without something bigger than you, for me, that's God and Jesus. For you, that might be something else. It's going to make you stronger, but also no, you're not alone, and you do not have to be afraid, because it always is going to work out. It's not always going to look pretty, and you're not always going to like it, but it always works out, because all of that hardship that I went through, all of that, like, what the hell am I doing? And people being like, Emily, what? All led me to this moment here, living in Colorado, marrying Austin, having this business, talking to you on this podcast, meeting all of the beautiful humans that I have met. It was all for a reason. And I would encourage you, like, right now, you may be working so hard to get your business running, or you may be working so hard to, reach your fitness goals and be this, leader in your space and show up and make it happen and have the high income months and all of that beautiful stuff. I get that. Look, I get working hard. That is like been my MO, like my main identifier. But when it's just hard work, you are going to hit a wall that is bigger than you. You are going to hit a situation that is harder and stronger than you, and you need something else to get you through it. And that's where faith comes in. Having faith and pairing that with the way you walk through life is going to allow you to grow and evolve and become more and more of the woman that you want to be, because you are leaning on something that just has a better plan for you. Because as humans, we think we know. We think we know all the things, that we're just so freaking smart. And that's not true. We need God to lead us. We need God to take us to that next level. We need God to say, hey, you got to learn this lesson before you can do this thing. You got to let this go if you want this in your life. You got to shut that door if you want this door to open, because you on your own can't do that. And that's surrendering in your faith. That's knowing that through hard work and perseverance and believing in God for you, if that's not God, whatever that is for you, is going to get you through those really, 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 really hard times. Those times where the rent is due and you have no money in your pocket, where you can't find a job to save your life, where the person you've been married to for the last 7 years says, I want a divorce, right? Those big moments, those days, your sister, like, I can go on and on where I have been like, I can't do this by myself. And when you give that over and you continue to work hard on your path, you are going to accomplish things that you didn't even know were possible for you. And people will say, how the hell did you do that? How were you successful? And I can't even, yes, I work hard, but it's not me that's doing it. Like, God made me amazing. He leads me in the right direction. I know that if I continue on my path, that I will go where I need to go. So as you walk into your week this week and you're working your little tushy off to be successful, to make something happen, to make an impact in this world, I really would encourage you, if you have that little inkling in your chest, to work on your faith, to work on your spirituality, to do so. It's going to move mountains in your life. So I hope you found this helpful today. I want you to go out there, crush it, start trusting that there is something bigger at play here, and give yourself the chance to just dive into your faith a little bit more. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you soon.